Welcome to the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott, and our amazing guest, Rich Lilke.
Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Guild Mortgage. Contact Buddy Puckett at 503-851-8031. NMLS number 270057. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Tim Rist at Discover Oregon Real Estate. On the web at DORLLC. Find your people, find your home. Adams Ribs Smokehouse, 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon. 503-362-2194. AdamsRibsSmokehouse.com. Boson Hub Digital Development encourages you to join in supporting the Alzheimer Association's Walk to End Alzheimer's, alz.org.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Well, hey, there's Russ.
Woohoo! And there's Scott. That's which way are you? You're that way. There you go.
Yeah,
hey, good morning, everybody, to the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And we are ready for an amazing week. We're just ready to roll. At least I am. I'm ready to go. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had those thunderstorms this weekend, and there was all this pollen and dust on my car, and that little bit of rain spotted it all up. So I had to go take it through the car wash because.
Well, I tell you what, not only so that was crazy. It came right over our house. It was like huge explosions. It hit something not far from our house in Northeast Salem. A lot of power outages. Thank goodness. We just praise God that we were all good and no problems, but it was very much right on us. And then beautiful though, lightning. It was just streaking down the sky. I haven't seen it like that for a while.
Yeah, you know, and it's unusual to have those summer storms here in Oregon, but yeah, kind of fun because it is unique. But I always tell people in Oregon, we'll often have no rain from the 5th of July until October. So, but it really only lasted a few moments, and it was a gorgeous weekend otherwise.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I was in Hawaii because the rain, I was out taking a walk with my dog when it started and the rain came down there, big, huge drops, but they weren't enough to get us like drenched, but it was also very warm outside. So it was like warm rain, but it was very interesting. And then this morning on the walk, one of the garbage trucks from Republic Services caught on fire 2 doors down from my house. Wow. Crazy morning.
Everyone's safe.
Everyone's safe. The driver handled it wonderfully. He just got out of the car or out of the truck and he called 911. All was good. A neighbor came running out with a fire hydrant. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to do it, but that's really wonderful that you want to help.
So it's probably something in the load that he took. Maybe someone emptied the embers from their barbecue and it hadn't quite put them out yet or something.
It was actually his engine that caught on fire. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was nasty.
Ouch.
But anyway,
Okay.
I digress. You know, we are so blessed to be here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. And we're so thankful that you're with us, whether you are local in our local area or whether you're local in your local area. I'm telling you, we have an amazing worldwide community, but don't forget your local community. That's what we're really focusing on. Not only your local businesses and helping your local economy, but also believers in business in our local area that are coming together in the name of the Lord and doing amazing things. And we have one of those today, don't we, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. Richard's got a great story. I think it'll be inspirational for folks. We were talking a little bit in the green room beforehand, and I just going, I wish we hit broadcast right now because he's got some great stuff. But we're going to learn a lot and get some inspiration today.
Yeah, I've been so blessed. Rich has been a great friend. Now, it hasn't been, I mean, we've been friends for, I'm guessing, about a year, maybe a little bit longer, but it seems like forever. He's just such an
Mhm.
amazing guy. He blesses me with some amazing beef jerky a couple times that he makes, and that endeared him to my heart right off the bat. Coffee or
Mm,
beef jerky, and you're in my
there you
yes,
go.
you're in my close network. But anyway, I am just so thankful for him, and for those of you that know him, that have met him at greeters or met him in local at church or whatever. Who knows where you might have met him? You are going to be so glad to hear the stories from him today. And don't forget to share this out and
Mhm.
tag other people. Let them know that we're here. That is something we just want to encourage you to just continue to do, share and tag people. And I want to tell you one other thing before we get them in the room, and that is that we want you please to join our YouTube page at the
Mhm.
experience.video. That is an amazing, just super easy link that'll take you. If you know the name of our show, you can get straight to our YouTube page.
That's
Like
right.
that today, subscribe, you'll love it. And Scott created an amazing landing page, local.theexperience.video, that will tell you a lot about Scott and I and get you involved in all of that. So that
Mhm.
gives you a little bit more. Either one of those will work great to connect with us. And we're just so thankful that you're here. And now I think it's time to get Buddy in the room. Or I mean,
Well,
Richard in the room.
let's get Richard into the room. I know you were talking with another one of our guests on
I
the show,
know.
Buddy Puckett,
I
and
just came off with
it was
Buddy. That's
great to
right.
have him on the show.
Yeah.
And he was on the Marketing with Russ show earlier today. I got to record with him last week, so I'll be on his podcast conversation with Buddy. But let's bring Richard in.
Yes, Buddy is a great guy and a sponsor of this show. But Rich is the one we really want to talk to. Here he is. Morning, Rich.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Is it
I
really you?
do. I have gone by Buddy a couple of times, so it's all good.
Well,
Hey.
you are a buddy, and I just appreciate you. Really, I do. And my brain will get the names figured out here someday. But listen, let's start off with the basics. Like, who is Rich?
Mhm.
What are you up to? What are you all about?
This was a question that I was challenged to answer, listening to other shows, and I figured I would go into who I actually am, what brought me to the person that I am today. And so I was raised in Oregon, born in Oregon, raised by my father. I have a brother, not a very Christ-centered family, so I'd never had that beacon of light growing up, that direction. So when you don't have that in your life, you can tend to go off into different paths that don't take you, that aren't a positive path. And unfortunately, that's where I went after serving in the military in Desert Storm. That was pretty traumatic for me as a child, because I was 18 years old when that happened. I think 18, 19, right when that happened, and pretty traumatic. And so in order to deal with some of those things, I started to self-medicate. And that turned a pretty dark chapter of my life. And as I look back, God was always there, which is awesome.
Well,
Sorry, these are yeah, it's these are tears. It's joyful for me to talk about this. So it's not sad. So, but it's hard. So as I look back in my life, God was always there. He was always by my side. There are times where I should be dead. I did things that just were not there, but He put people in my life. I can pinpoint about a time. It was spring of 2006 that He really put somebody in my life. His name is Mark. Probably won't go into last names, but I lived in Bend, and he just looked at me and said, "Get cleaned up and come see me about a job." And that's when my sales career started. And he stood by my side. He helped me grow, gave me the direction and that self-confidence. And that really was one of the things that sparked me to get out of the bad decision making that I was in. Started to believe in myself a little bit more, and then spend some time doing that. And then God put another person in my life, and that is my current wife, Jody. just randomly, I could go into how it was such a random instance that she got brought into my life. And we started talking and talking more, and we started dating. And then out of the blue, God put the most important person into my life, and that is my beautiful daughter, Lauren. Without her, I don't know, life would be empty. So
Life, children change your perspective as to what's important and where you want to put the focus of your time and energy. So I'm glad that you bring up your daughter on this. I was just thinking about you were saying it at random, right? You met your wife, or these people are brought in. I don't know that it's as random, but that we need to open our eyes and to see what is it that God is presenting to us, whether it's a person or a circumstance. And I think it's going to be encouraging for other folks to hear about your story and kind of what happened from that time when you moved forward and you got married and you've had your daughter. What have you seen God doing in your life and affecting other people?
Affecting other people. How he affects my life is I'm very drawn towards. I'm drawn towards making people happy. My first thought when I get up in the morning is to be the reason somebody else smiles, be the reason somebody laughs, to show kindness, to show empathy, to show respect. The things that are lacking, I feel, when you go out into the world, it's so impersonal. And to just walk up to a stranger and to give them a compliment, to walk up to anybody, to sit down with a homeless person who seems down and lonely or in despair, just to walk up to them, sit next to them, treat them with respect, to show them that there are people out there that care. That's something that my wife has helped me with, and it's something that I'm really drawn towards. And that's the direction I believe God has for me, is to just to let people know in my little world that there are real people out there, and people do care, and people want, you want to help people. You want to make them smile. You want to make them happy, because you never know where they're at in their life.
Yeah.
And so,
You're such a giving and a loving and helpful person, Rich. I'm telling you, from the time I met you, I barely knew you, and you were already giving stuff to me. It just comes out of your heart. I can see right off the bat. Some people may not think beef jerky is a lot, but when it's in my world, that is like, and then a big hug to go with it. I mean, you can't beat that. Beef jerky and a hug. There you go. But I am telling you that I could see your heart from the very beginning. And you and I talked about business, we talked about things, but really everything has centered lately on your spiritual journey. And you're talked a little bit about that, your family and how but I mean, as far as your spiritual journey affecting your business and how you approach things, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think it's
Sure.
still happening. I think all of us are going through a journey, at different levels, different speeds, and different ways. But tell us how that's really affected your local business work as well.
How it's affected my business and how I do things here is service above self. Going out and putting myself in the other person's shoes. People, want to find people to work with that they can trust, that they can rely on, and not so much being in it for myself, but I'm here for the other person. And then other things for me just kind of fall into place. If I put somebody else's wants and needs above mine, my wants and needs are taken care of, because my joy is not necessarily cashing a big check. It's more making a positive difference in somebody else's life. And people have a small business, they rely on people, their vendors, and the people like me to support them and to be there for them when things don't go right. And that's something that I hold very, very dear to my heart, is when there's a problem, I'm always there to help. I'll stop what I'm doing. And if I need to spend 3 hours of my day just to make sure that a job runs, or their computers turn on, or their printer is working, their copier is working, I'm there. And my customers know the fact that when they call me, that they are the most important part of my day at that point, and nothing else comes before them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how my faith. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to remind people that we're speaking with Richard Lilke, National Business Solutions in Albany. I was thinking of the bumper sticker. This is Rome, London, Paris, Albany. So
there you go.
Yeah. So I love you're talking about your customers and how they're such a key focus, and not putting yourself forward, not first, right? National Business Solutions of Albany. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the problems that you solve?
The problems that I solve is when you hit print and you don't hear pages come out, whenever you hear a beep, and you hear a series of beeps, the problems that I solve are that I show up and I have enough experience to know how to make the pages come out. Monetarily, the problems that I solve, I tend not to. I try to save the customer as much money as possible. Churches are very important to me. Money should be going to discipleship. Money should be going to ministries for the churches. When people tithe, they don't always think, well, I'm going to give this money, I hope it covers the copier payment this month. They want that money to go to children's ministries, to bring our children up in Christ, and to bring more people to the faith and to the word. And when we siphon that money off into things like copiers or IT or their phones, that money isn't used properly, in my opinion. So those are the problems that I try to solve. And also the biggest problem I solve is peace of mind, of knowing that when your electronics do fail, because it's inevitable, things are going to go wrong, that you have somebody that you can count on, and that will be there for you, that cares as much about that copier working as you do in the business. And so I think the peace of mind is the biggest problem that I solve.
Yeah, I want to jump right in there and say, Rich, that is such an important thing. People don't realize. So your heart of helping people, you see that. So I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been on the sales side and marketing side, going to customers, and been the person people are coming to. My first job, I was office manager at a huge advertising PR company. And I was very young, straight out of college, jumped from the mailroom to office manager, and the beginning of my career. And what I learned quickly is I had a big ego and I needed to get over myself. And then number two, God kind of smacked me around. And then number two, I learned that great vendors like you made me look good. My bosses thought I knew everything and could do everything because I had great vendors like you that I could make one phone call and had that peace of mind, like you said, that they would come to the rescue. They thought I knew so much about computers. It was ridiculous. And I knew virtually nothing. So I just had a lot of great people that helped me out and told me what to do. So that's why I think that is so important for you in local communities to have that, giving customers peace of mind, because people really want to work with people they know, like, and trust. Old sales adage, but it is so true. They want to trust you and really know you, who is coming to help them out. And you really, I've seen you with customers, talking to them and how much you really care. And I just think that is so, so amazing. So I want you to go bounce back a little bit, because I'm all about family too. And your wife and your daughter, you were talking about that. I think that sometimes people get off track, even Christ followers, people that love the Lord, get off track with doing too much work and not paying attention to the family. All of us do that. I point right at myself, working on that, right? How do you keep that good work-life balance? How do you help? I mean, does it, obviously God helps you with that, but how do you keep that good balance in your work and your family?
That's still an aspect of my life that I'm working on, considering, my commute is an, and so that's a challenge to when I do get home. You're tired, you're stressed out, and just unplugging and spending time with my daughter, sitting down with her, to sitting down at dinner. Everybody sits down at the table, and we just, by the time I get home, and dinner's ready, it's almost 7:30, right? And so just spending time with them, spending time, on a dog walk. We are now incorporating more, because again, I'm fairly fresh in my walk with Christ. 3 years in, 2 years in, and so sitting down and reading the Bible, reading a passage, talking about what that meaning of the passage is, and finding passages in the Bible that prepare us for the next day, that explain things or help us understand what happened that day, and help us get through it. If something challenging happens to me in a day, you can easily, and Bible apps are amazing for this, is you can Google the problem, and boom, there's your Bible passages for the problem. And then you talk about, you have an opportunity to read those and to reinforce the fact that, again, no matter how troubled life can seem or how hard it seems, God is still there, and God is with you, and God has a plan. And the troubles that you're going through and the solutions that you find can easily be passed on to other people if your eyes are open, and if you're have the empathy for other people. Your experiences you can share with other people to make sure that may help them. Just a kind word, again, going back to that, a kind word, hey, I've been there, this is how I got through it, this is what I used to get through it. If that makes somebody smile or gives them that moment of peace, that's a win. I mean, that's success. So how I keep my with my family is just trying to do things. We went camping this last weekend, so using the weekends as best I can to spend with my family and my daughter. But again, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And I just love this. I'm going to remind people again, Richard Lilke, National Business Solutions, is our guest on The Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. And Richard, you mentioned at the beginning that your upbringing was very different than what you're bringing to your family today. And
Yes.
And also you're bringing your faith, you're living your faith out in your work. And I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask if you can tell us a story where you've seen Christ impact a life, either in your family or at work, because again, you were raised differently than what you're living now, and I love to see that you've broken the cycle, and you're instilling this opportunity in your daughter to see what it is to live the Christ centered life. So you can put you on the spot. Is there a story that you can tell us that kind of exemplifies that?
I could speak from a personal experience where Christ really has come into play and impacted my life and the lives of people. That's a good question. It would be, I guess I would have to circle back to me, because it's so it's amazing to the fact that when I look back in my life, and I wasn't aware of it at the time, that when you reflect back of where God has been in my life, where it was with Mark, the guy that pulled me away from the dark times, to where my wife came into play, and then my current church family, how they've surrounded me, how they've brought me in, and even though I'm still new, I'm still a little rough around the edges at times. Where they're Christ-centered people that are bringing me further and further down the path of walking with God. I have amazing people in my church family, from Aaron to my pastor Micah, Gabe. All these men are helping me become a better man, learning to disciple my daughter. That just didn't come by accident. That was something that was put into place without me even knowing it. I never made a conscious decision. I can't remember making a conscious decision prior to Easter of 22 to take my daughter to church. And I've never looked back since. So those things, I can't, I just cannot fathom the fact that wasn't God coming into play saying, it is time for you to take this step. It is time for you to take this step. And you don't make the decision. God made the decision for me. And I'm a perfect billboard for God working in somebody's life without me even knowing it. And it's such a blessing, and it's such an amazing feeling. I get very emotional when I talk about it, because you feel like, wow, I'm not worthy. How is that person worthy of walking with Jesus and walking with God and being able to even be in somebody else's life? But I was, and I am, and that's the best feeling in the world, is knowing that God loves me, and He was there for me, even though I wasn't there for myself. He still stood by my side, and He still loved me enough to put the right people in my world. National Business Solutions, the owners, amazing people. I couldn't ask for a better job. I couldn't ask for a better situation. The owners of this company put up a lot for me. I'm not the perfect employee. I make some paperwork mistakes here and there, but my heart's in the right place. And I'm very loyal to the company, and the fact that they brought me in. I've been here for 10 years, and they've allowed me to grow and flourish. They've allowed me to support and to have a family. Without them, I don't know where I would be. So God put them in Rich, my family, or my life.
Rich, I want to jump in here and just tell you, it is so important who we're involved with, intentionally choosing companies like National Business Solutions, where they treat you right. We are wrapping up the show quickly here. We're down to the last couple minutes. Wanted to give you a chance. Give us your quick little gold nugget, and then how people get in touch with you in the next minute. Ready, go.
My gold nugget, I thought about this. My gold nugget to anybody, go out in the world with love. Don't let the noise of the election, the media, social media, whatever the things that are out there to divide us, don't let that run your life.
That's
go out
such
with love.
Great advice.
No matter who the person is. No matter who the person is, whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, we are called on them to love them, not to judge them.
And how do they get a hold of you
right now?
Richard,
you can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me by calling National Business Solutions, 541-747-0123. Email RLILKE at 4bizsolutions.com, or just call my cell phone, 541-480-2202. I will always answer, and I'll always be there to help.
Thank you, Richard.
Appreciate you, Rich. Hey, you know what? You are a blessing. Thank you for being on today. Looking forward to seeing you later this week. Going to send you out to the green room and say goodbye and wrap it up until we see you again. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks for having me.
There we go. It's been amazing. I tell you, time flies, Scott.
Absolutely. I love Richard's work-life faith integration. Just beautiful. We'll talk more about that on another edition of the Experience Local.
Next Monday, 9 a.m. on social media, and then at 6 p.m. on the radio station KWIL 790. See everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.